How am I looking? Looking good?
So good.
Sexy. We're gonna go and hit biceps and triceps today. Why? Because you want it. So I was gonna go and hit chest, but Nick so rightly said, well, people want to see an arm workout. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Gonna go and hit biceps, triceps. Again, it's gonna be instinctive because I'm just getting back into the gym. If I feel like doing antagonistic supersets, that's what I'll do. If I feel like laying low and just doing straight sets, that's what I'll do. But there'll always be volume involved. I find that when I do a lot of volume, I'm able to get more blood flow into the area. I can get a better pump, I get better contraction, I get better muscle gain. And when it comes to biceps specifically, when you're working with the contraction and getting the blood in there, getting the pump in there, I find that you're able to work that bicep that much easier because too many other secondary muscles come in, like your front delts, when you're just going haphazardly. So it really does require a deep mind-muscle connection. Hence, again, and this isn't a sales gimmick, with the pre-workout, making sure that you have the taurine, the taurine and the tyrosine and the caffeine to make sure that you are mentally stimulated, so you get that better mind-muscle connection. The more you get that mind-muscle connection, the better that you can get that contraction, and that's what we're after at the end of the day. You don't feel it, you ain't gonna grow it. And then with the triceps, not going too crazy because we want to protect the elbows. We'll slap in a couple of compound movements in there just to make sure that we hit all heads, but we'll get a lot of isolation in there as well. Damn flies, I must be stinking. So we'll just go back and forth and see if we can rip some sleeves. All right, let's head on over there. So we did antagonistic supersets for biceps and triceps. We begun doing unilateral work. So we started off hitting biceps with a preacher curl on the cable, and then we supersetted that with a cable bent at like kickback basically. I find the kickback with a cable a lot better because I can get a full contraction out of that, which I cannot get out of a dumbbell. I think dumbbell kickbacks are pretty much bloody useless. So I much prefer the cable for that purpose. When I was doing the preacher curls, you'll notice that I wasn't going all the way down, especially as I go heavier. I don't want to put any unnecessary strain on the bicep tendon. And when I went over to the kickback, I didn't have full flexion, or not flexion, I'd say extension, sorry. So I didn't bend past any more than, say, a 45-degree, a right angle. Any further than that, I feel that it puts a little bit too much strain placed upon the elbow and the tendons that run across the elbow, and you can get inflammation from doing that. What you'll notice, or you may have noticed, is that I was touching the bicep there, not because it gets me aroused or anything like that, but I find that sometimes if I have difficulty getting a mind-muscle connection, all I got to do is like tap that muscle group, and it helps, I don't know, just send a signal and a response to my brain to better connect with that muscle group. On the biceps here, on the preacher curl, you'll notice that I'm not going all the way down. The reason being, I feel that it puts unnecessary strain onto your bicep tendon. Going down too far, you could put yourself into an unhelpful predicament where you could possibly tear it or gain some inflammation, which is exactly the gains we're not after. And when I'm doing a tricep extension, here the kickback, I do not come all the way forward. I just come about halfway, so my arms at a right angle, because I'm working on the complete contraction. And what I have found through, I guess I found out the hard way, when I overextend on my triceps, whether it be on head smackers or whether it be on cable extensions, whatever, it has put unnecessary strain on my elbows, on my elbow tendons. And I've gained a little bit of inflammation over the years by doing that. So now when I shorten that range of motion just slightly, so it's not complete strain upon the triceps and the tendon that runs over the elbow there, I find that it's much more focused on the contraction on the muscle as opposed to the other connective tissues such as the tendons. I get a lot of people ask me questions in regards to their biceps and their forearms. They want to build up their forearms. Now, I don't do any exercises specifically for forearms, but when you're doing bicep curls, whether it be on a preacher, cable, bar, whatever, if you want to bring your forearms into the movement, I recommend that you keep your forearm contracted by pulling your wrist in. So you'd be curling more like that. If you want to take your forearm completely out of the equation, you find that you're a little bit, you overcompensate with your forearm and can't get the contraction in your bicep. Extend your wrist back like that. So it kind of takes your forearm out of the movement, and then you're just following through with complete contraction of the biceps. So people want to build up their forearms, try it with a contraction, and if you're doing back, don't use straps, don't use lifting straps. But that's why I find how I've got my best forearm development, is actually keeping everything contracted, and probably because I'm single as well. Right, we're back on the preacher bench. Now we're going on to free weights, and we're going to use the steeper side of this machine here, just so I can get, again, work on the contraction. Less tension at the bottom, but more tension on the contraction at the top. And then I'm going to go straight onto this bench here and do some head smackers with the same bar. Okay, so obviously again an antagonistic superset, starting with the biceps, then immediately following the triceps. I was hitting around 16-17 repetitions on biceps, and then purposely, because I'm using the same weight anyway, but purposely I was heading for around 30 repetitions with the triceps. Only reason being is that I want to work again on the contraction, the mind muscle connection, without putting too much unnecessary strain placed upon the elbow joints, especially because I'm just getting back into the gym now after having a few weeks lay off on holiday. So I want to make sure that my tendon and ligament strength catches up to the muscular strength over this period of me getting back into it over the next 5 or so weeks. Come on. So whenever I do like my limbs, legs, biceps, triceps, hamstring squats, I always find volume definitely works a lot better. Getting blood into the area, stretching that fascia, just working on the pump. The more that we can pump the area, the more we can retain that pump. The bigger, fuller, rounder, more three-dimensional look and separation I find that you get within that muscle group. And chest, you can go a little bit heavier, use an explosive manner. I find that not going too explosive or ballistic with biceps and triceps, as you're going a little bit heavier, is the way forward. And obviously if you're going much lighter, and we're doing like 50 odd reps, then yeah, you can go a little bit more ballistic. There's less tension placed upon the connective tissue and more placed upon the muscle. So yeah, I definitely like the volume approach when it comes to bis and tris. Oh yeah, we're done now. That's superset. I think what we'll do now is some straight sets of tricep dips, go onto our compound movement, and then we'll do straight sets on for biceps to finish off. What exercise we'll do, nobody knows. I tell you what, it's so weird, because I've taken a few weeks away from the gym, and God knows how many weeks it's been since I've done dips. If I add on that, I've lost all sense of coordination. So the first 10 reps was all about trying to get my coordination right. You know, I'm shaking, I'm kind of off balance, as opposed to getting a full focus and contraction on the muscle. So it's weird, you know, you take some time away from a certain exercise such as this, your coordination goes off track. What definitely doesn't make it easier is this extra 15-20 pound that I've put on as well. Oh, I can feel that now. As opposed to doing like 30 odd reps on this, I'm struggling to get 20 out. What a fat bastard. Decided to finish off biceps with hammer curls. Work the forearms a little bit as well, but mainly to work the choriobrachialis to thicken up the bicep. Now the reason why I'm not going in an alternative fashion, especially when you're doing higher repetitions, that places a lot of time under tension on your hands. So if I was doing an alternate fashion, that resting hand or that resting arm has still got a lot of load placed upon the forearm, your grip strength. So that does weaken the area, especially when you're working your forearms and your choriobrachialis. So for that purpose, I prefer to pick up one dumbbell and just work the one side. So I don't have to worry about that time under tension on the other. Make sure that you break down failure on one side and then move on to the other. One thing you have to be wary of, and you'll notice that I don't bring my traps into it at all. It's very easy for you to pull your traps up to further extend that movement, just to get the dumbbell up to your chin. So that's the way the body likes to cheat, by using the assisting muscles of the traps. So make sure that you are mindful of keeping your shoulders down the entire time. Shit. Oh man. Rolling. Alright, I'm going to take you through my workout while I'm having my re-caged here. So we did antagonistic supersets for biceps and triceps. We begun doing unilateral work. So we started off hitting biceps with a preacher curl on a cable, and then we supersetted that with a cable bent like kickback basically. I find the kickback with a cable a lot better because I can get the full contraction out of that, which I cannot get out of a dumbbell. I think dumbbell kickbacks are pretty much bloody useless. So I much prefer the cable for that purpose. When I was doing the preacher curls, you'll notice that I wasn't going all the way down, especially as I go heavier. I don't want to put any unnecessary strain on the bicep tendons. And when I went over to the kickback, I didn't have full flexion, or not flexion, I'd say extension, sorry. So I didn't bend past any more than, say, a 45-degree, a right angle. Any further than that, I feel that it puts a little bit too much strain placed upon the elbow and the tendons that run across the elbow, and you can get inflammation from doing that. So that's why I kind of shorten that movement and focus on the contraction a little bit. So we went back and forth there, and we were knocking out about 20 repetitions, and we did 3 sets of that movement. Then when we completed those 3 antagonistic supersets, we went on to the preacher again, but this time with a barbell on the steeper end of the actual apparatus, and we supersetted that with head smackers. I was knocking out about 15 repetitions with the curls, and I was knocking out about 30 repetitions with the extensions, because again, I've spent some weeks away from the gym, so I'm getting back into it. I don't want to put too much strain placed upon the elbows. It's very easy to get inflammation there, and as I always say, I train for longevity, and I have to enjoy my training. Otherwise, you know, this is my therapy. If I don't enjoy this, I'll go nuts. So I'm always mindful of preventative measures for injuries. So we went back and forth there, 15 reps, 30 reps, 15 reps, 30 reps, 15 reps, 30 reps. We did that 3 times, obviously. So we did 3 sets of those supersets there. And then we went on to straight sets, meaning no antagonistic supersets. I just wanted to concentrate on the contraction and the reps and the strength on the dips. Because I put on a bit of weight as I've taken time off, and it takes a while to get back into the coordination of that exercise. I felt a little bit off balance and I was shaking a little bit to begin with, but then I got into the groove and knocked out about 20 repetitions. Normally I do at least 30 repetitions, but I guess with the weight gain and taking time off the gym, that's what happens. And then we went straight onto straight sets then of the hammer curls, and I didn't do it in an alternative fashion. I did unilateral. The reason being I didn't want that much time under tension on the alternate hand that would rest when you're curling the opposite side. So if we're working the forearms and we're working the choriobrachialis, I think it's unnecessary to do alternate fashion, because you're taking away a lot of the strain of the movement that you're trying to focus on. So we just did one arm at a time, making sure that the traps weren't coming into the movement at all, and we did around 15-16 repetitions there. Went a little bit heavier on this movement. I think it did about 70 pounds, and because you get assistance from the forearm, I find that you can go a little bit heavier on this. And we just did some straight sets there of 15 repetitions, and that was it. Workout was done. As I've mentioned before, I like to do volume when it comes to limbs, biceps, triceps, hamstrings, quads. I just find that when you focus on getting that much more of a pump, you're able to get more of a contraction. And when you get more contraction, it means more muscle breakdown, so we can recuperate and recover, as I am now with the recaged, so we can come back tomorrow with the same intensity. So that basically did it for today. So if you like this video and you want more of these videos, please like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.